In the remote village of Ntofo, life bowed to ancient customs, and survival often came at the price of one's freedom. Zinzi sat stiffly on a cracked bench outside her family's hut, the brutal sun drying the sweat on her brow. Her hands were clenched in her lap, her heart thundering as her uncle, Juma, paced before the elders, bartering her away. 3 cows, Juma declared greedily, and a goat. That is the price for Zinzi. A ripple of murmurs rolled through the gathered crowd, some shocked, others nodding with approval. In Ntofo, marriage was currency, not choice. But what made this transaction different was the groom, Prince Omari. Once a revered warrior, Omari had returned crippled after a brutal war. Cast aside by his family, cursed by rumor, he was a ghost of the man he'd once been. The throne had already passed to his younger brother. Zinzi's throat tightened as the elders gave their blessing. Her fate was sealed, not with love, but with livestock. That night, beneath a sky of cold stars, Zinzi sat alone by the fire, mourning the freedom that slipped through her fingers. Her mother was long gone. Her father vanished. Only Juma remained, and he'd sold her to enrich himself. Stories of Omari haunted her thoughts. Once fierce, now discarded. Was he truly cursed, or had the village buried something far darker? The wedding came swiftly. It was no celebration, only a spectacle. Zinzi wore a plain white cloth, her face pale, heart pounding as she approached the altar. Omari waited, seated on a wooden stool, his left leg twisted, a cane at his side. Their eyes met. In his gaze, she saw sorrow, but also a flicker of something untamed. The ceremony was brief. The elders offered hollow blessings, and when it ended, Zinzi followed Omari to the crumbling palace on the village's edge, a forgotten ruin, much like its master. Inside, he moved with quiet dignity, despite the limp. "Welcome home," he said, voice low. "I know what you think." "I don't know what to think," she whispered. "That I'm broken, a burden, trapped." His smile was faint, bitter. "I wouldn't blame you." But Zinzi surprised even herself. "I won't give up on you." Weeks passed. In the silence of the palace, Zinzi uncovered the truth behind the fallen prince. Omari's body was weakened, yes, but his mind burned bright. At night, he spoke of bloodlines and buried legacies, of ancient warrior kings whose power was sealed away, their lineage diluted by fear and betrayal. "True love," he said one evening, "awakens the blood, but the throne forbids it. They fear the return of the true heir." Zinzi's curiosity deepened into resolve. She would not be a pawn in their cruel game. As her bond with Omari strengthened, she felt it, the stir of something old, something dangerous beneath the surface. One stormy night, she followed a whisper through the palace corridors. Hidden behind a tattered tapestry, she discovered Omari in a secret chamber, chanting in a forgotten tongue. His cane glowed faintly, and before her eyes, his crippled leg began to straighten. "Omari," she gasped. He looked up, eyes burning. "The bloodline is awakening." At dawn, the palace pulsed with new energy. The sun spilled gold across the sky, but shadows stirred beneath the stone. Zinzi stood beside Omari as he finished the final chant. The cane throbbed with power, no longer a crutch, but a weapon. His leg, almost healed, was a symbol of vengeance rising. "This changes everything," Zinzi whispered. "It must remain hidden," Omari said. "The throne watches. They fear what will become." From that moment, they trained in secret. Omari, once a cripple, became a teacher again, guiding Zinzi through combat rituals, forgotten forms of power. She learned quickly. Warrior blood now surged in both of them. But Ntofo had eyes everywhere. Rumors spread like wildfire, of lights from the palace, of a cripple who stood tall once more. The villagers whispered, and watching closest of all was Queen Ebony, sister to the new king, and a serpent wrapped in silk. Fearing her ambitions threatened, Ebony sent spies cloaked in shadows to uncover the truth. Zinzi sensed the danger. "They're coming," she warned. "We must be ready." "Then let them come," Omari growled, gripping his cane of light. "Let them see what I've become." In the dead of night, the palace was breached. But the spies didn't find a broken man. They found vengeance reborn. Omari struck like lightning, his cane a weapon of divine wrath. Zinzi moved beside him, nimble, deadly, untouchable. They fought not just for survival, but for retribution. When the last spy fell, Omari's voice echoed through the courtyard. "Tell the throne, the rightful heir lives." Back in the village, Juma counted his cattle with pride, unaware that the girl he sold had become a storm. His wife, watching the growing unease among villagers, muttered, "Power always returns." The days that followed were tense. Zinzi and Omari fortified the palace, drawing allies from the forgotten warrior clans. The throne's betrayal ran deeper than they'd known. One quiet night, Zinzi turned to him. "Why did they cast you out? What did you do?" "I was loyal," Omari said bitterly. "Too loyal. I uncovered the truth, that the throne was built on blood and lies. They crippled me not in battle, but in betrayal." Zinzi's heart hardened. She was no longer the girl who had been sold like cattle. She was a queen forged by fire, and her vengeance, like Omari's, would be merciless. Their war had begun, and this time they would not be the ones crawling. Omari's face darkened. "I never failed. The throne feared what I represented: justice, strength, honor. They used my injury to exile me." His gaze burned. "But with you by my side, I will reclaim my birthright." Their bond, forged through trials and trust, deepened. Zinzi was no longer the girl sold for cattle. She had become a woman destined to change Ntofo. Together they planned a rebellion, not just to restore Omari's place, but to end the corruption gripping their people. The village of Ntofo stirred. At the market, whispers turned to debate. The people, long oppressed, saw hope in the crippled prince and his mysterious bride. Zinzi walked with new confidence, eyes fierce with purpose. Omari, though limping, carried himself like a king reborn, the power of his ancestors pulsing stronger with each day, awakened by love and truth. Queen Ebony in her palace seethed. "They grow stronger," she hissed, clutching a dagger of obsidian. "If they're not stopped, the throne will fall." Her council plotted, but she knew Omari's bloodline carried ancient power, a magic awakened only by love. Zinzi and Omari worked tirelessly, uniting scattered clans. The warrior elders, once doubtful, were moved by the couple's sincerity and the undeniable stirrings of ancestral power. Mamaneo, a respected elder, declared, "Our forefathers call out for justice. Omari is the key, but only together can we reclaim what was lost." A secret council was formed, warriors, healers, villagers, all ready to fight. Training became daily ritual. Zinzi learned the spear. Omari, guided by ancestral visions, honed his gift. His once crippled body, now a vessel for something greater. One night beneath the stars, Omari whispered, "Your strength awakens me. Together, we'll burn away the shadows over Ntofo." Zinzi placed her hand on his heart. "Together we rise." But danger crept close. Ebony's spies sowed fear and doubt. A trusted warrior, Kofi, betrayed them, revealing plans to the queen. Her forces attacked under cover of night. Chaos erupted, fire, steel, and cries of battle. Zinzi fought fiercely, her spear flashing. Omari stood beside her, blue ancestral flames erupting from his hands. Outnumbered, they were near defeat, until a deafening roar split the night. From the shadows, spectral warriors emerged. summoned by Omari's awakened power. Their ethereal blades turned the tide. When dawn came, the rebels had survived, but at great cost. Zinzi knelt beside the fallen, tears silent. This is only the beginning. Omari helped her to her feet, resolve in his eyes. The throne will fall, and Tofa will be free. Smoke hung in the morning air. Zinzi tended to the wounded. Omari stood above the village, power growing, responsibility weighing heavy. In the palace, Abeni's rage ignited. They defy us, they'll pay. She summoned Nuru, a deadly assassin feared across the land. He moved like a ghost. Meanwhile, Zinzi became a symbol. Mothers brought their children to her. Elders sought her counsel. Warriors pledged loyalty. She and Omari sat beneath the ancient baobab, the village's heart. "Do you fear what the power might do?" she asked. "Fear is natural," he replied, glowing faintly. "But love keeps me grounded." That night, Nuru struck. Silent as wind, he slipped into the rebel camp. Zinzi woke to a scream. Flames flickered. Omari rallied the warriors. "Protect the village. Find the traitor." Zinzi spotted Nuru near the children's tents. She charged, spear ready. Their clash was swift and deadly. Just as he struck, Omari unleashed ancestral fire, forcing Nuru to retreat. He vanished, leaving a message carved into a tree. This is only the beginning. The attack shook them, but united them further. Word came that Abeni had sealed an alliance with a neighboring kingdom. The final battle loomed, but Zinzi and Omari were no longer afraid. Dawn broke with fiery promise. Villagers gathered beneath the baobab. Omari stood tall. This is for every soul cast aside, every buried truth. Zinzi's voice rang out. We fight not for revenge, but for a future where love is stronger than fear. Abeni's forces stormed in, but found a united people, led by a prince reborn, and a queen who once was broken. The battle raged. Omari's power flared, fire and wind dancing. Zinzi's spear struck true, her courage unmatched. Then Abeni entered the fray. "You think you can take what is mine?" she roared. "This throne belongs to the people," Omari said. "Not tyranny." He summoned the full strength of his ancestors. The earth trembled, the skies roared. Abeni's army fled, shattered. Silence fell. Ntofo breathed again. Omari was crowned. Zinzi stood proudly beside him, not as a bride traded for cattle, but as the queen of a new era. Together, they rebuilt a kingdom of justice and truth, where love healed old wounds, and brokenness became the seed of greatness. Beneath the stars, Zinzi whispered, "We were cast aside, but together we've awakened something unstoppable." Omari smiled. "Our story is only just beginning." And so, the girl once sold for cattle became a queen. The prince once cast aside rose in flames, not for vengeance, but for a new dawn. But the story does not end here. What would you risk for love, for justice, for freedom? Was Queen Abeni truly defeated, or is darkness merely waiting to rise again? Drop your comments down below, and if this story moved you, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share the legend with someone who still believes in magic. This is Enchanted African Realms, where ancient power, forbidden love, and destiny collide. Until next time, stay fierce, stay faithful, and never forget, even the broken can rise.